The Lord be with you.
And also with you.
So in the movie Shawshank Redemption, Morgan Freeman's character, Red, is released from prison. He's given a halfway apartment and a job as a grocery bagger. And after serving 40 years of a life sentence in prison, he's well into his 60s, and he's trying to keep up bagging groceries. Are y'all familiar with this movie? It's a classic. If you haven't seen it, you should. In the movie, as he's just finished bagging a woman's groceries, he turns to his boss, who is about half his age, and says, "Personal break, boss?" And his boss calls him over to where he is standing and says, "Look, you don't need to ask me every time that you need to go. Just go to the restroom and go." And then Morgan Freeman, narrating only as Morgan Freeman can do, says, 40 years I've been asking for permission to go, and I can't even squeeze a drop without say-so." And then he goes on to say, "There is a hard truth that I've got to face. No way I'm going to make it on the outside. All I do now is think of ways to break my parole so that maybe they'll send me back. Terrible thing to live in fear. Brooks, my friend, knew it all too well. I want to be back where things make sense, where I won't have to be afraid all the time." For 40 years, Red had to ask to stand up, had to ask to sit down, told when to eat, when to sleep, when to wake up, when to work, when work was over. For 40 years, every bit of his life was told to him. And after those 40 years, most of his lifetime, he is released into a world that he doesn't really understand or know how to get along in. When he went into prison, he was just a young, stupid punk kid, and now he's an old man unsure of how to get along in the world that has left him behind. I imagine that same truth is true of the Israelites as they are coming out of Exodus from Egypt. For over 400 years, they have been slaves in Egypt. They've been told when to sleep. They've been told when to wake up. They've been told when to work and when to go to bed. They are told what they could do and when they could do it and what they couldn't do. And for 400 years, they have lived in a ghetto area of Pharaoh's Egypt, with the Egyptian military looking over them, making sure they did exactly and precisely what the Egyptians said. And for people who have lived in captivity, like Red from Shawshank and the Israelites in Egypt, you begin to rely on the constant direction and oppression of those that guard you when you are in prison for so long. This is what made Red miss Shawshank. For 40 years, he had longed for freedom only to find this new world outside the prison bars overwhelming and unfamiliar. And while Red went in a young kid and was coming out an old man, Israel went in over 400 years earlier and for generations was conformed to and beaten into slaves, so that when they finally had their pleas for freedom answered by our God Yahweh and Moses, they had no way of knowing how to navigate what this new world would be and what this new freedom outside of the bars of Egypt would look like. I would like for you just to imagine maybe with me what it would be like if your parents told you everything to do nonstop from the time that you were born to the time that you were 18, right? That you were told when to wake up, that you were told when to go to sleep, you were told what to eat, you were told what to wear, you were told what to drink, you were told who your friends were and who your friends weren't. Maybe for some of you this isn't hard to imagine, right? that every bit of your life is just told to you. And then when you hit 18, for the first time in your life, you have to make decisions for yourself. And so how do you go about making those decisions? Is there a difference in eating dinner at home with vegetables and Mickey D's, right? Is there a difference between going to bed at 10 o'clock at night and 4 in the morning? Is there a difference to how you spend your rent check, whether you spend it on a keg or you spend it on rent, right? And so all these decisions that you have to, for the first time in your life, figure out. And so Israel is wandering in the desert, trying to figure out what it means to be a free people, to be a people who makes decisions for themselves for the first time in over 400 years. And so God decides that God is going to help them out, that he's going to lay for them a little bit of ground rules so that they will have some guidelines in which to explore their newfound freedom. And so God gives them the 10 words the 10 commandments that we got to hear in our first reading. I am the Lord your God who brought you out of Egypt. You have no other gods before me. Don't take my name in vain, God says. Remember the Sabbath day, keep it holy. Honor your mother and father. Don't kill people. Do not commit adultery. Don't steal. Don't bear false witness. Do not desire your neighbor's stuff. Don't desire your neighbor's wife. All these are some pretty basic things that God has given them as they ask the questions of life and for the first time in 400 years try to figure out what it means to be God's people. And so they ask a lot of questions, right? Can I plant corn? Sure. Can I go to bed at 10:30 or can I stay up to 11:30? Either way is fine, God says. Can I murder my neighbor? No. What if I steal his stuff first? No, don't steal his stuff. Can I have a Pop-Tart? Sure, right? And so God gives these basic kind of 10 guidelines to help people figure out their freedom. And so it gives them these 10 commandments to help them be a people that can coexist with each other and be in relationship with God. It is a way that they can find and figure out who they are as God's people as they explore what it means and how to make decisions on their own. I think the same is true for us today. In our world never stops moving. It just keeps going. We can feel like we are constantly behind no matter how many hours we work and no matter how much energy and effort we put forward trying to catch up, we can always feel behind. That there are 100 million things to do every day, and we only have 24 hours to do it in. Today, you actually only have 23, right? And so you're already an hour behind, I'm sorry to let you know. And so how do we get done all the things that we need to get done? And if we don't get them done, then we can almost feel like we have failed the day. And while each of us are fairly good at making decisions, the weight and quantity that we have to make them can seem overwhelming, especially when they just keep coming in wave after wave after wave after wave, right? And so I think of like even the type of cereal or the brand of toothpaste that you're going to buy, it's just so many decisions that we have to make every day. And God gives to us too the 10 Commandments. They are a gift to us. They are a gift to us because they help us explore our freedom. As we make thousands of decisions every and each day, they help us sort out what is important from the urgent and just the stuff that's overwhelming, as we try to keep ahead of life's demands on our family, self, and bodies. For instance, if you can, at the end of the day, maybe even tonight, right, as you lay in bed and you're going to sleep tonight, if you can answer at the end of the day, did I keep God first? Sure. Did I use the Lord's name rightly? Sure. Did I keep the Sabbath day? Yes. Did I care for mom and dad? Sure. Did I murder anybody? No. Did I steal anything? No. Did I lie? Nope. Did I sleep with anybody I shouldn't? Nope. Did I chase after other people's goods and family? Nope. If you can answer those 10 things at the end of the day, it's a good day. It's a good day. Whether you were able to get done the million other things that you feel like you should get done, if you can do those 10 things, it's a good day. It's a good day. And you know what? Maybe tonight when you go to bed and you're thinking through them, you realize like, ooh, I did that one, right? I was like, shouldn't have done that, but I did that, right? There's room for improvement tomorrow. And we bank on the grace of God that holds us in baptism to get us through to that day, right? And so these commandments, they are a gift to us just like they were to the Israelites who went before us. They help us figure out what it means to be a free people and what it means to be God's people. Amen? Amen. Amen.